What's up, guys? Welcome to another night here of the GSL Codes. Tastes Artosis are back again as we do the next half of the semifinals.
That's right, Tasteless. We already have a PvP between SOS and Myungshik lined up for the round of 4 on the other side of the bracket, and now we get to figure out what this will be. We have Byun against Ryung, and then Deer versus TY. Really, like, a bunch of surprises, obviously, so far. Like, Myungshik and Gumiho making top 8. We have now Ryung in top 8. Byun, who's been on a tear since Legacy of the Void came out, he's here in the top 8 as well. This is awesome.
It's really cool, especially this first match we're going to go into. Byung and Ryung, this is like two old-school players, especially strong back in the early days of Wings of Liberty. Now they're here. It's Legacy of the Void, and they've actually both managed to get this far. So kind of an interesting overall group of players that we had that managed to get this deep. It wasn't just a bunch of new blood. It wasn't, just the regular players you would expect to get this far like TY. We had a really good mix of all different players from all different backgrounds.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see, especially, like, I love this storyline of Byun right now. This is a guy without a team. He's in the top 8. He's looking so awesome, and can he make it to BlizzCon? He's right on the edge of that, but
we got an announcement.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Check it out. ASL and GSL finals on the same day.
You know what that day is? The best day of your life.
That's right. It is the best day of your life. This is going to be really cool because, look, these are the two best games ever made, right? The pinnacle of RTS. But we're going to have them now paired together.
Yeah.
And look, I think that we really do need to marry these two games together. I think a lot of people, just like all this stupid gaming tribalism you see where people are constantly trying to compare one game against the other, you should love both of these games. So maybe you're not familiar with StarCraft Brood War. Definitely tune in early, and you're going to get to see this. And, of course, if you're more of a Brood War guy, but for some reason you're watching this right now, definitely tune into the ASL and then watch the GSL Codes finals. Yeah,
it's going to be awesome, especially if you're down here. It is on September 10th, and that will be in Children's Grand Park, which is like a great area overall. It's right near Conde University, and that's like a really nice area. Great restaurants, great bars. This is going to be a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, so we're very excited to be doing that. We've never really done anything like this here at Afreeca or back when we were Golem TV. We never really had, I guess, an opportunity like that. Of course, if you're not familiar with the ASL, that is our StarCraft Brood War tournament we've been doing here for quite some time. Yeah. So definitely check out both of them, but definitely be there for the finals.
Yeah, again, it is going to be the best day of your life. Sometimes people tell their parents, I wish I was never born. You're not going to wish that this day never happened. Okay? Sometimes people think that the best day of their life is when they get married. Guess what? 50% of marriages end in divorce.
That's right.
But at the end of that day, we'll have a champion of ASL, a champion of GSL, and nothing can ever change that.
The best day of StarCraft possibly in the entire year. Yeah. So much good Brood War action, so much good StarCraft 2 action. So definitely join us. Anyways, over to the bracket. Here's what it's looking like. As you can see, we are at the bottom part of the bracket that we're going to be covering here. And it's, pretty Terran heavy, but of course Deer is a GSL Codes champion. He is very likely to possibly get to the finals here.
Yeah, he wants to ruin everything, Tasteless. That is his only goal in life right now, is to make enough adepts to get to the finals and possibly even do something like knock SOS out there and really, truly put a wrench into Artosis' best laid wishes. But we'll see if he can get past TY tonight. TY is deserving of a title, the best Terran player in the world. Obviously the best Terran player in the world. Has so many points in WCS, should be going to BlizzCon, no problem. But still, he doesn't have a championship yet.
Yeah, I think Deer will probably be taken down by TY. Deer is playing really well, and he looks very strong, but at the same time...
TY looks better, though, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to get at. Well, I'll get to that in a second here. First, a look at this.
명령을 좀 보고 지금 대기실에 윤영 선수 뛰어나와서 지금 화면을 보고 있어요.
하나 파괴되면 중점 단도됐습니다. 상대 모두 골선으로 차이거든요. 이거 여기서 근데 역장 이 너무 뭉쳐 있는데요. 사이클론 잡았습니다. 네, 원더풀 미니만
조지명식의 그 수모를 이 한 번의 빌드로 갚아주는 김동완.
그렇죠. 소모전만
해도 유리한
기회가 많지 않습니다. 들어가서 붙어 있어요. 아, 맹독충 잡았어요.
일단 펌 있어요.
아, 회심일격
드디어
여기서 영혼을 녹일 수 있는가? 말도 안 돼요. 오, 근데 여기 쉽게 막히면
이거 다시 한번
여기 깨지면 수습하게 테란이 좋아요.
도대체 어떤 선수의 빛이 플레이를 해요?
왼쪽선에 11기를 해요.
야인 아니면 못하는 거야. 야인 시대 아니면 지금이야.
뭐 참가하는 선수들 중에서도 제가 자부심 있게 열심히 하고 있고 더 열심히 해서 운도 따라주면은 네, 우승도 할 수 있을 거라 생각하고 다른 게이머들이랑 이제 출발선에 섰다고 생각해요. 그래서 이 기회를 놓치지 않고 더 열심히 해가지고 오프라인 그러니까 8강, 4강 결승까지 꼭 가도록 노력하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
All right, guys, let's go to an interview with our two players and see what their thoughts are before we
자,
start our
4강에 올라갈
match.
첫 번째 테란을 가리는 경기입니다. 인터뷰 전에도 서로
So
티격태격 친한
today's
모습이었는데요.
match will determine the first Terran to advance to the
이야기
semifinals.
나눠보겠습니다. 안녕하세요.
Let's talk to Byung
안녕하세요.
and Ryung. Hello,
네,
hello,
서로 굉장히
hello.
친한 것 같고 아무튼 특별한 8강전입니다. 서로의 소감이 어떠신지
So you guys are known to be good friends. How does it feel to be facing each other in the round of 8?
하는 거에 대해서 마음이 편하진 않고
네.
또 웃는 얼굴 보니까 또 마음이
I'm kind of sad that I got to play against Byung in the round
웃는
of
얼굴
8.
보니까 참 편하지가 않은가 봐요. 어떠세요?
Sitting today
선수?
makes me a little bit sadder.
저는 많이 이경원 형이라
네.
저는 너무 좋아요.
I won against him a lot recently,
많이
so I'm
이겨본
actually feeling
상대가
pretty confident.
밝혀주셨는데요. 두 선수가 이전에 변현우 선수가 서로의 대테란전 연습을 가장 많이 도와주는 사이라고 밝혀주신 바도 있고 실제로 제가 데이터를
So you guys
찾아보니까
mentioned you
두
two
분이
both always practice
무슨
TBT
그렇게
together.
공허유산
Since
경기를
you're facing
많이
each other
같이
today,
하셨는지
who did you end up
데이터가 어마어마합니다.
practicing TBT
공허의
with for this?
유산만 따져봐도 변현우 선수가 김동원 선수를 6대22로 앞서고 있어요. 굉장히 경기를 많이 하셨는데
Also, I understand that
자신감
Byung has a
확실히
winning record
느껴지네요.
against
오늘도
Ryung
안신다는
and Legacy the
마인드세요?
Void.
아니요, 저는 항상 진다는 마인드로 오기 때문에
네.
오늘 스코어 그러니까 그 상대전적 연연하지 않고
I always come to the studio with the mindset that I might lose, so I'm going to do my very best, even though I'd say I'm about 22 versus, what was that, Jay? 22 to 6 record against him recently.
알고 있으니까 그렇게 안 하면 될 것 같고 저도 모르게 그렇게 하면 또
Yes, I've lost to Byung a lot,
자, 이
and I
순간만큼
know what I have to do to
라이벌이었기
win, so I've
때문에
trained really hard. I'm going to give it my
새로운
best.
연습 상대를 구하셔야 했을 것 같아요. 어떻게 새로운 파트너는 누구였는지 궁금해지네요.
저는 일단
So, who were you practicing with for this match?
선우가 워낙 열심히 하니까 그것보다 더 열심히 해야 된다 생각해가지고 더 열심히
네.
했고 일단 이기면
I know that Byung's a player who definitely puts a lot of prep into his matches, so I practiced really hard for this. If I win, I'll tell everybody who I train with.
다른 팀들한테 요청을 했는데
네.
다 김동훈 선수랑 했다고 하더라고요. 김동훈 형이.
진짜요?
네, 그래서 그
I asked for help from plenty of teams.
그래서
네.
중국 소속
All the teams said
네.
they weren't practicing me because they were already practicing with Ryung. So I actually didn't have many practice
완전히
partners
준비를 하고
going into this match.
자, 벌써부터 이 최고의
그냥
세트전이 나올
shut
것
him
같아서 흥미진진한 경기 기대하고 있습니다. 두 선수 서로에게
I would say something about Kespa, but he's on MVP.
한마디씩 강력하게 나눠야죠.
Any final comments to
오늘
each
어떻게
other?
하자? 먼저 들어볼게요.
일단은 오늘 결과는 현우 컨디션에 따라 갈릴 것 같고요. 현우가 오늘 컨디션이 살짝만
I think today's result is going to depend on Byung's condition. If his condition's not too good, I think I've got a good chance to win.
아, 네, 알겠습니다. 자, 공허유산 테란전만 141경기 11패. 정말 압도적인 테란전 실력이라고 보는데.
So Byung has a very good record
김동원
at TBT
선수에게
and Legacy
마지막
the Void,
한마디
online and offline. Any final comments you want to say to Ryung?
그 11패 중에 동훈 형이랑 많이 그러니까 했는데 한 판 낮췄거든 동훈 형이랑 그래서 오늘
Even though I have 11 losses in Legacy the Void and TBT, I've never lost to Ryung.
온라인
But I hope that continues today.
한 번도 진 적이 없는데 봐줬으면 좋겠어요.
I'm also very strong online. I'm hoping that I can bring that from my online play here into this live match.
나오면서 즐거운 분위기인데요. 과연 오늘 승자는 누구일지 오늘 8강 3경기 본격적으로 시작해 보겠습니다.
All right, let's start the first match. Artosis, I didn't realize they were actually close.
They were actually close?
Yeah, they're good friends.
Oh, yeah. They actually are each other's primary practice partners in TBT, so this is like kind of an awkward match because of that. And I'm not surprised either. They're both two of the top TBTers in the entire world. I've got to say, like, I think that recently I've really liked Byun's TBT a lot more than Ryung's, but obviously, as that interview just showed us, the teams are favoring practicing with Ryung over Byun, so I wonder how that'll go.
Yeah, that's an odd situation that Byun sort of locked out of being able to train with people because Ryung had already booked practice with the other teams. We're not sure what teams they were. They didn't actually specify, but interesting. Now, in fairness, and I think this is a reasonable prediction, Byun should be able to win this. He just seems to have a little bit more speed, a little bit more agility in this matchup.
Yeah, I do like him better in this matchup for sure right now.
Yeah.
So he's definitely going to be putting in his all. Obviously, this guy doesn't have a team. We haven't seen something like this happen forever, guys. Like, for years and years, we haven't had a teamless guy go so deep. Like, I remember a long time ago, the last teamless guy to actually get into GSL was DRG. At one point where the Kesma teams truly took over.
Yeah, that's true.
And like DRG was the last one that kind of reminds me of this, but Byun is going even deeper. This guy is so close to a BlizzCon spot. He's got like a lot of heart. People are really cheering for him. It's exciting stuff, man.
Yeah, this is going to be cool. It's also cool because it's two players that are very old school. These are guys we were familiar with in the very first season of the GSL. Now they're here in the round of 8, and one of them is going to go on to the Final Four.
Yeah, it's from two of the oldest teams. Ryung, formerly on Slayers, and Byun, formerly on Prime, way back in the day. In Major Legacy of the Void tournaments, we see obviously a lot of Pro League games come out for Ryung, whereas Byun, not being on a team, he can only play in SSL and GSL, man.
This
makes it tough for him.
This is kind of the funny thing. So occasionally we get like one player or two players in a major tournament like this that aren't on a team, and it's kind of phenomenal to see anybody do that well without having a strict regimen and training. Teammates to watch in person and watch you play in person and give you feedback. So whenever you have anybody that gets this deep, this is of course the most competitive StarCraft 2 tournament in the world. To have somebody get this far and maybe get to the round of far is a real testament to the one-man army that is Byun.
It's very well said, Tasteless. And the thing is, you know that he does have practice partners on these teams. He does have people that are willing to play with him because he's such a high-level player.
But that's not the same as living with
absolutely not.
A team of 10 guys.
This is often something pointed to as one of the reasons why foreigners have a hard time against Koreans, because the Koreans are organized into these amazing pro gaming houses where they get to constantly talk with each other and prepare, and man, it makes it really tough on these one-man armies, as you put it, with Byun. But
of course, it's always a fascinating narrative. I mean, how far can Byun get? You know, and I do wonder if he's always going to be teamless or not. I mean, when you're this deep in a GSL, definitely teams want to pick you up. Make no mistake about that.
Dude, yeah, he was saying after he left the X team he wanted to play in Pro League and stuff, but no one has picked him up, and here he is in his GSL Admirals jacket, ready to try to hit the round of 4.
That's right. He's a swashbuckler nerd, man. We got.
He's our skipper nerd.
He's over here, on the poop deck right here. I guess
to the starboard side.
I guess that's what we make them wear when they don't have team uniforms. Anyways, guys, get ready. This is game number 1. Ryung versus Byun on the map Dust Towers. In the bottom right, in the blue, one of our 2 Terran players. He is
MVP Chicken Maru, Ryung.
Very red jacket.
Thank you, Artosis.
Yeah, no, you're welcome.
In the upper left here, in the red,
Byun.
Looks like someone who would be steering a lower end boat that I'd be chartering for the day.
It kind of looks like you'd work on a Carnival cruise with that jacket.
Something like that.
Thanks for coming down, guys. Welcome to the studio. This is kind of a funny thing to cast with these 2 guys just because of their IDs. Because whenever I'm entering the players, I feel like I've gotten a stroke. It's like it's Byun against Ryung.
Yeah, well, you know, as the legend goes, you know, God took the bottom part of Byun's B to make Ryung's G, and that's how he was created. So
Well, we've seen Beyond specifically really be able to get into the other player's territory and do a lot of damage early on. He's really good with his aggression. He's really good with his control. I don't know if there's a Terran player that controls and maneuvers as confidently as Beyond.
You know, yeah,
I'd still pick TY ahead of him, but I actually when you watch Beyond play, it's pretty impressive. He's got some surgical precision with his control, and he's a lot of times goes places most players wouldn't even harass, but he'll get in there and make it work.
He is a master of micromanagement. There's no question there. You know, you definitely do have to name players like TY, as you said, and Maru, and you know, very top players are going to be good in every single way, generally speaking. But Beyond rather. He has some special things about how he controls. Like, for instance, he's the best Reaper controller.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You can't get me to admit otherwise. Like, if he goes through your X-Reaper, you're probably dead, and those Reapers are going to be useful all game long. He doesn't need to trade them in, so...
Yeah, he's definitely... we don't normally have players like this. It's pretty rare we point out that this one guy has the best control with this one unit. But Beyond does actually take that.
You know, that has happened occasionally, like parting, for instance, with Stalkers is like... Well,
and sentries with the force field
parting.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? But yeah. So this is like the match obviously could go either way. I think a lot of fans are kind of rooting for Beyond and like seeing this underdog guy that was completely out of the scene for so long. Like, Ryung has always been around, right? He was on Axiom, he was playing tournaments, he was traveling a bit here and there, getting into the GSL from time to time. You know, we see him in Pro League. Whereas Beyond, it's as if he disappeared during Heart of the Swarm. I don't remember seeing any Beyond games during Heart of the Swarm.
I think he was AWOL for a little bit, and then came back.
Do you remember his puppy?
Oh, of course. I wonder if he still has that puppy. I hope so. If you guys haven't seen that, as you guys at home, you can
just type Beyond's puppy into YouTube.
Or GSL puppy or something like that. Yeah. And he brought a puppy to a team match that we had a while back. Ryung down here in the south is going to be the first to try to initiate. Now, there's some similarity in these builds, so I'm curious to see if Beyond's going to pick up right before this drop actually comes out.
Beyond, he is about to...
This is what I was worried about.
But he's about to have a Cyclone, and that definitely is going to help out quite a bit. He can try to target down that medevac, and you know, just a Cyclone in general is going to be very good anti-harassment unit.
Okay, this is a super modest approach here. Oh my god!
Oh, that was sloppy. That was sloppy. And in fact, he did a lock-on and then pulled it out of range, I think, there too. So Ryung already getting the upper hand, and you know, you guys can't see their faces on the side, but Ryung already shook his head. He's definitely not happy with how this is going.
This drop is coming in here now. We have SCVs already pulled. 2, 3, 4 now. Workers have been killed, but that's going to be it. I got to say, I like so far the kind of damage that Ryung has done here, but let's see if he can actually take this this medevac out. Looks like the Viking might be in a good position to hit it. Oh, unfortunately, Beyond did not control that correctly. He could have cut that off. That was a pretty big mistake by Beyond.
For him to not even chase that with a Viking.
That's actually unforgivable.
Yeah, like it doesn't seem like he's playing at 100% right now. It's not like he's just fell over and died. It's quite an even game at the moment. Both players actually going for Cloak Banshees, by the way, but definitely it feels like Beyond could have done slightly better so far this game.
I think he absolutely could have done better. I think he might be thrown off just slightly here by the start of this game. Okay, nicely done there by Ryung. He actually managed to take out the rest of this here. Another little win here by Ryung. Beyond getting in a little bit of trouble now.
Okay, we have the Cloak Banshee coming in, and it will be scanned, so this will end up falling.
Yep, takes that out.
Cyclone's a very good counter to that. Another Banshee coming across. So of course, Beyond has his own Banshee with Cloak on the way.
Got to be careful. He's already sending Banshees across the map, despite the fact that there is a Viking out in the game, too. And a lot of times a Viking can just guarantee the Banshee doesn't get back home. So,
yeah,
a pretty gutsy move here by Ryung if he actually does opt to initiate with the Banshee. Or he might just be hiding it over there and waiting for an RB to move out and come in later on. We'll have to see. Nope, he's just going to go for it.
Yeah, the Cloak Banshee coming in, that third command center on the way, so maybe he'll stall that out slightly. No, and missed that second shot.
I think he actually clicked on the command center instead of the SCV.
Looks like it. That's so, Ryung going to get his command center up a little bit quicker there. Already has his upgrades going as well, so to me it feels like right now he's just kind of leading a little bit everywhere. You know, he's got more SCVs, he's got the quicker third command, he's got the quicker upgrades.
Okay, he should be able to get away. Oh, wow!
Yeah.
Shot was fired, and then it went outside of the scan range, but the missile did connect.
This is actually like a funny thing, is that that's an ability to lock on, so it can hit it while cloaked. It's like totally kind of a wild thing, but because it doesn't look right? It just looks like a normal shot.
Yeah, it does look a little bit funny. Takes some getting used to. So, as the game goes on, we see now Ryung going to go ahead and focus on getting some more Vikings out here while getting more of his barracks. Beyond also getting more barracks here as well. Looks like the stim upgrade is going to finish at basically the same time for both players, which is pretty interesting. So there's not going to be anybody that will really have like a tempo advantage when they push out on the map.
Yeah.
You know, where one guy's got stim and therefore the other guy has to wait, because if he picks any fight, he's going to lose. It looks like they're neck and neck in that regard.
Yeah, they definitely are. But when we look at like the overall numbers of what's going on here, we just see that Ryung is leading as far as army supply and SCVs. So, you know, he's got that little bit of an edge. Now, how does Byun actually fight his way back into this game is the question. Does he just need a strong engagement, or maybe like a harassment that goes through well? Because so far his harassment really hasn't done very much.
No, I think you're correct. He really hasn't done too much at all. Ryung just going to have a little bit more of an edge, it seems like, so far this game. Although, you know, we also got to see how long is this game going to actually go for, because it seems to me like Ryung wants to push this right here, right now.
Yeah, he is going for it.
Yeah.
2 Tankovacs coming up. He also has air dominance here with 3 Vikings and a Raven, so that's a little bit annoying for him to have to deal with here. Byun starting to move forward. Both the Cyclones locking onto each other. Good spread of the siege tanks. I love that auto turret coming down for Ryung as well.
Really nice control. Actually chuckling both those tanks away. He took out the medevacs there. Wow, Ryung is doing such a good job. Now, the fact that the Vikings survived both the medevacs and the 2 tanks, everything else was somewhat expendable back there. And the fact that he actually killed off some of Byun's tanks, I think that actually Ryung can continue this push. If he wants to send another wave over here, he might actually be able to take this game.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job of continuing to harass. He's gaining a bigger SCV lead. He still has about 15 supply and army up, and he's got all his important tech units, as you pointed out. So this is like a very good situation for him. Their upgrades are pretty much tied. It's just like, again, Ryung a little bit better in all the categories.
Yeah, he just is ahead in kind of every possible way. And by the way, Ryung has really upped his control. If you had covered up these names and asked me to guess who was who, I would have actually thought that Byun was the blue player, just because he's looking so clean.
Agreed with that.
Yeah, but it's the opposite here. Ryung has really stepped it up. Now, this game's not over. It's just right now Ryung with a bit of a lead, but it looks like Byun's going to move out. We got to see how this initiation goes.
Oh, 3 Tankovacs in the center. He's got to be careful with that. Does get away. Ryung trying to do a little stim there, maybe to catch him. Not going to work out, though.
Wow, good save. Wow. Whoa. A lot would have died there if he had not picked that up at the very second of.
Sky hooked into those medevacs.
That's right, like Batman and the.
It's one of the greatest scenes in all movies ever. That skyhook scene in Dark Knight.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I was thinking of the game itself, actually.
Oh no! When
like
he skyhooks out the window, it's like so sudden. It's like he's there and then he's just completely gone into the sky. It's like, well, I mean, you got whiplash for that, 100%.
For sure, it's not good for your body to move like that. So, we have an attack, or a little bit of a skirmish here in the middle. It looks like Ryung is going to respect Byun and back off here. This is a map where we have games that end up going on for a very long time because it's very easy to cut this map in half. But Byun is looking to initiate. Now, Byun is a little bit behind in his supply here, although his army supply is decent comparatively, so he might still be able to win a fight. But let's see how these two actually end up engaging.
Yeah, look, you're right that Byun is trying to hit a little bit of engagement here. In fact, look at that.
Whoa,
really committing to get a siege tank.
Super ballsy.
Yeah, it was. The one thing I'm a little bit afraid about here for Byun is that he's doesn't have the Vikings, right? So overall, he has to use more scans than Ryung over a long course of time in the middle here.
Yeah, remember, guys, tanks can shoot farther than they can see. So when somebody has the Viking superiority, they don't have to scan to try to get that extra shot off. Hold up, we have another attack coming up here right now. Byun did not even stim during that. It looks like his screen was somewhere else.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. Loses more than what he wanted. Tries to trade as best as he can, but does have to pull back still. They're pretty even, and Byun is actually the first one that's going to be taking a 4th base. So that's definitely something that can kind of catch him up and maybe get him to pass Ryung for the first time this game.
Yeah, I got to say, you know, TVT sometimes can be decided in the blink of an eye, and we might have had that moment back there where Byun just was not ready for that engagement, was not looking carefully. I think Ryung is going to slowly push through here and potentially squash Byun this game.
Yeah, that's what he's trying. He does have kind of like the edge on positioning here a little bit further on the side of Byun's side of the map, and he is landing his 4th base, so that's going to be pretty similarly timed to Byun's, but I think we just saw Byun with some medevacs going over there, so might be able to get something done too.
Well, problem is he's sending those medevacs over there like that, but that means that Byun has even less to defend here. Now, this is a pretty good drop by Byun. Maybe if he can actually take this command center out and survive whatever the next attack is here from Ryung, he could be okay.
All right, he's going to go ahead and stim, deal as much damage as he can, taking out quite a few Marines and whatnot, but does have to eventually pick up as the reinforcements of Ryung come up.
Now, Ryung is itching to try to bust this position down here. Note that at the center right, Byun does have that expansion. Ryung just managed to reclaim that expansion over there from that drop. It is, the supplies are beginning to even out here. It looks like about 9 supply away from maxing out is Byun.
And they have the same amount of siege tanks. That's really, really important to keep in mind.
Yeah.
So, you know, these battles are going to be really even at the basically the same supply numbers with the same amount of siege tanks. It's going to come down to positioning. Who's faster here? Tankovacs falling out here for Byun.
Okay, they are, it's kind of a no man's land here in the middle of the map. Unfortunately, Byun doesn't quite have enough in these medevacs to really do anything. So this should be wiped out over here. Maybe a little bit of it. Oh my God, it got through. It just went around. How funny is that?
I don't think it'll end up doing too much. Yeah, one Marine gets out, but
Rambo over there.
Not for too long.
Behind enemy lines.
Okay, a stim forward from Byun. Does pick off a siege tank.
Ryung has been really on top of picking up those tanks with the medevacs. Like, he is just so quick to do that. He's definitely having more favorable exchanges here. Now, this is kind of a funny-looking, strange game that you got to play here in this matchup right now. It's because you can pick up the tanks. Oh, wow, I can't believe this. Byun's actually going for it.
Yeah, he's trying to push forward right now. He's actually down 1 armor upgrade on those Marines compared to Ryung, so he's got to be careful about a full engagement.
Okay, here we go. He can't pick that up in time. So when you have this much on the ground, it's too difficult to suck up all the infantry into the medevacs. You'll take too much damage in that process. So you actually want to try to get the tanks laid down in a position where they can hit the Marines when they're running, and you're constantly fighting for a better arc because Stim Marine versus Stim Marine, the arc and angle is way more important than any other fight in range.
Yeah.
In the whole game.
You're definitely very right about that. Whittling down these Marines over time is worth a lot. Like, killing siege tanks is the #1 priority, but if you can't get that and you can consistently bash the Marines, you can gain an advantage there. And if your opponent falters on the macro for even a moment, you might be able to just run them over.
Okay, they're beginning to try to edge forward. Byun is going to try to go for an attack here. Now, the Viking count is better here for Ryung. Oh, wow, this is... Oh, my God. All right, he might end up getting stuck up here. And look at this. Ryung just backs out of this position. All right, so Ryung actually is going to pick up again, still looking for a place to fight, and that's going to trigger Byun to come in right now. And an ill-advised attack there. A good chunk of his army was just shaved off.
Yeah, he's looking for places to do an engagement here, but Ryung just has such a large army. This is like the craziest no man's land. To actually break through here is very tough indeed. Notice that Ryung, with these Vikings going back and forth, is forcing a lot of scans out of his opponent. Look at that. Great move right there, picking off 2 more medevacs.
So the real win so far here for Ryung, besides all these other engages, is that these Vikings come in here, and then they drive back the medevacs. The medevacs can't get close to pick up tanks that are in bad spots like this one here. So he's trying to, but he's afraid about losing the tank and the medevac at the same time just because the Viking might shoot it out of the air. So I think very slowly but effectively here we're seeing Ryung dismantle Byun. Now that was a good job there to dive in and try to shoot down those Vikings, but even if it's 1 or 2 Vikings, it's still a problem.
Yeah, this is a real issue, and Ryung has done such a great job with those Vikings. As you said, like, if you look at the medevac count now, he's killed like 4 or 5 medevacs, 4 or 5 tanks, and now he's up 4 or 5 medevacs and 4 or 5 tanks, and that gives him a big edge going forward here.
Okay, he's going to try to edge in here. If you look at the mini-map right now, they're pretty even on, actually they're exactly even on expansions, but this is probably going to be decided by whoever loses all the tanks and or medevacs first.
Yeah, like if you do end up losing all of your tanks and medevacs, your opponent will just roll through you. And Beyond has gotten quite a bit lower as far as that count goes. Look at this. He's got just one Viking flying over right now. Wants that vision. Looks like there is only one Viking left for Ryung as well, so I guess that one Viking will be enough.
He's not making any more Vikings either, by the way.
Yeah, look at that poking. He has a few more Vikings.
Oh, no, he's got
out.
two more Vikings here. Now, the Marines can get in there and do any damage underneath that.
Okay, now Beyond is actually taking a little bit of the air dominance. It's such a funny balance, because if you make too many Vikings, then your ground force will actually lose, but if you don't make enough, your opponent has more and then has this vision and can kind of push you back and control the flow of battle in the center.
All right, Ryung does take the upper left location, so we're about to have this map cut completely in half. I don't know if the fighting is going to continue over here. I think the fact that they both went to the center means if one player tries to drop the other one's main, the other guy just pushes through and kills everything.
Yeah.
So it's almost like now that you're here, you can't leave, and that's why we're seeing turrets get set up as they're just trying to reinforce as much presence as possible. Remember, these guys are best buddies. They train together a lot, and they know each other's playstyles very well. They obviously had to stop training together right before this match started. But it's interesting because you can see they're pretty even, and just the way that they're approaching this matchup on this map seems pretty similar. So they probably both kind of come to the same conclusion about the best way to do this. But it's kind of tricky now, right?
Yeah.
It's like a mirror matchup within a mirror training matchup, I guess you could say. So it's kind of interesting to see that they're just this neck and neck so far.
Yeah, they really are, and it's so